The following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers. This is the TFN Geek coming to you with my most recent Transformers review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy United, Amazon exclusive, Doom and Destruction Collection action. This is the 2-pack, well technically 3-pack, containing the Transformers Legacy United Generation 1 Deluxe Class Insecticons. Now, I know these are Deluxe Class because that's the size class of figures that these are, but I'll explain why these are known as Deluxe Class Insecticons in just a moment. But, yeah, this is the first of 3 Doom and Destruction, Mayhem. Doom and Destruction is what they're known as on Amazon's website. This is the first of 3 box sets in this subline of Legacy United figures that to be released. The reason why this is the second one that I decided to review is because the first one was slightly easier and there were more interesting figures to review in my opinion. But yeah, this is this box set. You get 3 characters in here. You get Generation 1, Chop Shop, and Barrage. They're both retools of the Transformers Legacy Deluxe Class Insecticons. Chop Shop being Moldmate, being a retool of Shrapnel, and Barrage being a retool of Bombshell, and Bombshell itself technically himself was a retool of Shrapnel, so these figures, like Bombshell, are technically retools of Shrapnel, but there's more similarities between certain retools compared to the original figure, but you get the point. Right, so a lot of people were excited about this set because these are the first modern deluxe class-sized figures of these Transformers characters, and then you get a brand new character that Hasbro decided to name Malleus Minotaurus. It's basically a repaint of Transformers Siege Smashdown, who became very famous for being the first Transformers character and action figure to have a Minotaur, a creature from Greek mythology, for a robot mode. And overall, it's a pretty impressive box set for what it is. You can tell by the faction symbols here on the top. Chop Shop and Barrage, even though they're both Transformers Generation 1 Insecticons, and they even have the Decepticon logos printed on their chests on the box art, which is true of the actual action figures that you get. Here on the box, Hasbro decided to give them the logo for the Doom and Destruction collection. I don't think I believe it's a brand new faction symbol, but it's one that Hasbro hasn't created any background history or fiction to expand on it, so it's left up to your own imagination what you think that might be. And then Malleus Minotaurus, as the word Wrecker in front of his name shows, he's actually supposed to be a member of the Wreckers, but oddly enough, if you look here on the box art, even before we take the figure out of the box, instead of the Wrecker symbol on the top of his head, he has a brand new logo here. I don't know if that's supposed to be the key to Vector Sigma, or if it's supposed to be the symbol for the Forge of Solus Prime, which I believe that's what Malleus Minotaurus, being primarily gray, is supposed to be. He's supposed to be the Forge of Solus Prime. I'm now being able to transform into a robot mode. Oh, it's up to you guys to decide. So here on the front of the box, you got some nice box art here, and just like the other Mayhem Doom and Destruction set that I already reviewed, which contained Prime Breakdown and Windsweeper, the box art is done in the more traditional two-dimensional comic book type cartoon imagery that was first used on the Legacy Evolution Walmart exclusive subline of the Toxitron collection. So here you got Malleus Minotaurus here on this side of the box. On the other side of the box, you've got Chop Shop and Barrage. Chop Shop on top, Barrage on the bottom. Flipping around here to the back of the box, you've got them all in their robot modes and their alt modes. Malleus Minotaurus transforms back and forth in 6 modes. Chop Shop in 11 steps, and Barrage in 10 steps. On my copy of this set, it was supposed to be arrived brand new, but as it was being transferred from Amazon to my home, the box got dented here on this side, and then something punctured the top of the box, and so unfortunately, the part of the box that got punctured is where Malleus Minotaurus' face is located. So it is a little discouraging that the box arrived damaged. Hopefully, the figures inside are fully okay. But without further delay, let's get these guys out of the box and take a close look at them in their robot modes. Alright, and so to start things off, we will take a brief look at Malleus Minotaurus. Again, he's just an all-gray repaint of the Transformers Siege Battlemaster Smashdown. And here's that new faction logo on his forehead. I apologize for my camera not focusing on it too well, but it's in the shape of a key, so I think it might be the I think it's or a hammer, so I think it's supposed to show that Malleus Minotaurus is the supposed to be the Forge of Solus Prime. Even though we also got the Wrecker's Hammer with the Studio Series 86 Leader Class Springer, even though that's from IDW continuity, not G1 continuity. I wish Hasbro would say if these are if these new factions are permanent new factions and being introduced to the Transformers franchise or not, but the idea is that Malleus Minotaurus here, he's the one member of the Wreckers who's managed to track down the Insecticons, and he's trying to fight them off. If you have Siege Smashdown, then the transformation is should be nothing new. So out of the box, the torso is proving difficult to transform correctly. Using the back of the box as reference to make sure I transformed him properly. It looks like I did. So here is Malleus Minotaurus in his robot mode. Just like Smashdown, he's a Minotaur. Or you have the option of either leaving the handle on or not. I remember when Smashdown was released, what you're supposed to do is take out the handle, and I believe you just can't remember how it's supposed to be held. Oh no, hold but you can have the figure hold it like that, and now it's like a baton or club type weapon. And so yeah, there's Malleus Minotaurus in his robot mode. He comes with this impact blast effect, and then of course the slamming down blast effect that smashed down. I believe no, not smashed down. And I can't remember if this one is new or not, but yeah, he comes with these two blast effects here for the hammer mode. But it's been discovered in recent years that these blast effects, the material of the rubbery plastic, if it's touches solid plastic for a long period of time, then there's a risk of it melting solid plastic out. So most Transformers fans and collectors, after that discovery was announced, the enjoyment of blast effects has softened a little bit, and it's not as exciting as it used to be. Now that we know that blast effects can actually cause Transformers action figures to corrode away. So I personally have never been found the blast effects to be too enjoyable. But yeah, there's one last look at Malleus Minotaurus, who unfortunately is the least interesting figure in this box set, because the purpose of buying this box set, outside of Transformers figures, is for these two guys here. So here are Barrage and Chop Shop out of the box and in their robot modes. Odes. They come with the same laser guns that came with Bombshell and Shrapnel, but in addition to that, you also get the insect legs that Bombshell came with for here on Barrage. But unfortunately, due to how he transforms, you can't use them as additional insect legs anymore because I don't believe there's any spot to put them in. And on the back here, and one thing about Barrage is that the way he's engineered is that his back is actually Bombshell's chest, so they retooled the figure so that the torso is facing the opposite direction just to further distinguish Barrage from Bombshell. So that's pretty nice engineering there. For Chop Shop, it's not as much retooling in the torso being flipped around compared to Shrapnel, but I do enjoy how he turned out. Chop Shop was given a Legends class figure in the Generations Thrilling 30 line back in 2013, which was a repaint of the previously released Shrapnel figure. So with that Legends class figure during the Thrilling 30 line, and Chop Shop was actually, I believe, released either in the I think he was released in the Combiner Wars line, but the Shrapnel figure he was repainted from was originally released in Thrilling 30. So with that figure and now this one, it appears the deluxe class Insecticons are destined to be mold mates with the regular non-deluxe class Insecticon. So that's a bittersweet reality that they won't be distinguished molds unlike their Generation 1 action figures. But for me personally, I don't care because it means that Hasbro and Takara Tomy are able to produce these figures in a much quicker amount of time than they would having to design entirely new molds from the ground up. And speaking of similarities and differences between Chop Shop and Barrage themselves, there are just as many similarities as there are differences. From the waist down, their legs are completely the same. It's the exact same tooling. You could swap their legs with each other and they would transform into their insect modes, no problem. One thing that they did is that the shins on Barrage, it's entirely painted, and then there's a paint deckles here on the side of Chop Shop's legs as well. He even has that new Mayhem faction symbol painted there on his ankle, on the side of his ankle. Barrage's Mayhem faction symbols there on the back of his foot. But yeah, the hips, waist, and pelvis, the legs all down, everything downward is the same. I believe, yeah, the elbow joints are the same. The lower arms are the same. The shoulders are different. The torsos are different, and then of course you have different head sculpts. But apart from that, there's actually slightly more similarities in the mold than there are differences between these two figures. So pretty much the main distinction that they have to distinguish themselves from each other are their paint jobs. Chop Shop is his paint job is primarily brown and orange, while Barrage is primarily green, two shades of green. And I guess you would call this like grass green, and neon green. But yeah, pretty nice two-tone paint jobs that they have going for them. And I had mentioned that I would explain the reason why these were known as the Deluxe Class Insecticons back in the Transformers Generation 1 line. And that's because when these figures were released, they weren't originally designed by Takara Tomy. I believe they were designed by Bandai, who wanted to try and create a line of transforming robot insects, and Hasbro imported them to just expand the number of Insecticons that the Decepticons had in their ranks. But the Insecticon figures that became the deluxe class size Insecticons, the reason why they were called that is because they were twice the size of the regular Insecticons that Takara Tomy had designed for their microchain, for their I think Diaclone line of Transformers figures. I can't remember which line of transforming robot figures, Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback's G1 figures came from. If it was Diaclone or Diaclone, I think it was Diaclone since they had pilot seats for pilots. But it's just the reason why I'm finding it difficult to say words is that I'm just really thrilled to finally have a deluxe class action figure of Chop Shop, and finally have an action figure of Barrage in my Transformers collection. But yeah, that's just some basic background history on them. Apart from that, and I think maybe one or two appearances in the Transformers Generation 1 comics produced by Marvel. Apart from appearing in comic books, again, because these weren't originally created by Takara Tomy, these figures were only released in the United States, and the deluxe class Insecticons, they haven't really enjoyed too much popularity, unlike the three original Insecticons of Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback. But it is still nice to have modern day figures of them, and regardless. And now moving on to size comparisons in robot mode. One of the main things that Generation 1 Transformers fans have been excited for about this 2-pack of Chop Shop and Barrage is because, for a size comparison with another deluxe class Transformers figure, here they are next to the buzzworthy Bumblebee Creatures Collide Ransack figure. So, Ransack is also one of the deluxe class Insecticons that Hasbro released in the Generation 1 line. There were 4 deluxe class Insecticons that were released back in 1984, and so Ransack was the first of the 4 to be given a modern deluxe class figure when he was released in the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Creatures Collide 4-pack back in 2022. And the fact that he was repainted from Legacy Kickback, that was when Shrapnel and then Bombshell were announced. A lot of Transformers fans and collectors were certain that just like Ransack was mold mates with Kickback, that Chop Shop and Barrage were going to be mold mates with Shrapnel and Bombshell. So it is nice seeing the 3 of them standing here beside each other. The 4th and final Deluxe Class Insecticon to be given a modern Deluxe Class figure is the Deluxe Class Insecticons team leader, known as Insecticon Venom. Venom transforms into a species of insect that is different from Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback. So they could potentially, Hasbro and Takara Tomy, the designers could potentially use the Bombshell mold again, which technically is the Shrapnel mold. They could use this mold again to make Venom. Venom, I believe, transforms into a cicada, whereas Ransack and Kickback transform into grasshoppers. I can't remember what. I believe Shrapnel and Chop Shop transform into stag beetles, and then Bombshell and Barrage transform into rhinoceros beetles. If I remember correctly, the Insecticons that the deluxe class as guys transform into. I should have checked the Transformers Wikipedia before I started recording my review, just to be 100% certain. But yeah, even with Venom still not here standing beside them, Chop Shop and Barrage, they look pretty fantastic standing next to Ransack, and vice versa with Ransack. So unfortunately, this means that so far every deluxe class Insecticon has been released as an exclusive instead of mass retail. So it can be a little difficult tracking these guys down if you didn't live near a Target store back in 2022 when Ransack was released. It was probably difficult to find him, and if you don't buy or collect Transformers figures from Amazon.com, it can be difficult getting a hold of the Chop Shop and Barrage box set. And I won't go into the articulation because I tried to go over that when I reviewed Legacy Shrapnel and Bombshell. And I apologize, I won't be bringing out the Legacy versions of the Insecticons for a size comparison, but I will bring out figures of them. And so for a special size comparison, here are the Deluxe Class Insecticons next to the Legends Class versions of the original Insecticon. And I just put Bombshell in the wrong spot, so putting him in the correct spot, bringing Kickback in here. So this is one of the reasons. These are the Legends Class versions of Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback. They were released in the Combiner Wars, Titans Return, and Power of the Primes lines, respectively. And the reason I decided to bring these versions of the original Insecticons out for a size comparison was to show that there are a handful of photos of the original Generation 1 trio of Insecticons next to the 4 Deluxe Class Insecticons, and these modern Legend/Core Class and deluxe class figures of these Transformers characters. This roughly is the same size that these figures were compared to these. The sizes of these Insecticons compared to each other is what I was trying to say. It's the same, almost the same size as the Generation 1 figures were compared to each other. This is why these guys here in the back were known as the deluxe class Insecticons, because they were twice the size of the regular Insecticons who actually appeared in the Transformers cartoon show. So it's pretty nice that there's even modern figures of the Insecticons that are size accurate next to their Generation 1 action figures. And yeah, so all we need is Venom just to have all 7 Insecticons that were released in the Transformers Generation 1 line of action figures. I believe it was announced that that Venom is going to be one of the deluxe class figures being released in the Generations line next year in 2025. Whether or not he'll be an exclusive or he'll be a mass retail release is uncertain at this point. Right, and whether or not he'll still be called Venom or if Hasbro had to get a new registered trademark name for him, I honestly cannot say. It has happened in the past where after a character that's been found in a database leak, because Hasbro couldn't quite get the registered trademark for the name that they wanted, they did modify it slightly. At least so. I'm just really hoping that we get a modern figure of Venom, not only to have the Deluxe Insecticons team leader, but to also have figures of all 7 of these guys. So technically, because these guys are size accurate next to the Legend/Core class versions of Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback, technically to be size accurate to the Deluxe class versions of the original Insecticons, the Deluxe class Insecticons would somewhat ironically have to be given Voyager class figures to be have the same size accuracy as their Generation 1 action figures. But considering the fact that Venom, Ransack, Chop Shop, and Barrage never appeared in the G1 cartoon due to legal reasons back in the 1980s. I can kind of see Hasbro, the designers, having these guys be mold mates with the new deluxe class size versions of the original Insecticons, saying that they're actually the same size. The action figures being slightly larger was just the reality of the sizes of the figures themselves, but the characters are all the same size. There's no Insecticons larger than other Insecticons, but that's just me spitballing my own opinions on it. So, if I sound like I'm babbling more than I normally am, it's because, again, because the deluxe class Insecticons haven't appeared much in Transformers fiction, there really isn't much to say about them other than their fantastic retools of the original Insecticons. And for me personally, that's pretty much all there is to say about these guys. What they have going for them more than anything else is that they're menacing-looking Decepticons who have insects for alt modes. So, with that out of the way, since I'm talking about them as insects, let's get them transformed into insect mode, and then we will wrap up the review. Alright, and so here are Chop Shop and Barrage transformed into their insect modes. Again, the same, despite some retool parts. These are basically brown and green versions of Legacy, Shrapnel, and Bombshell, respectively. But I think they're enough distinction compared to them that you can recognize that these are separate Transformers characters that happen to be mold mates with Bombshell and Shrapnel. So, both on the box and on the instruction sheets, for Chop Shop here, it shows that the same laser gun that came with Shrapnel, you just plug it up here onto one of the 5mm ports and call it a day. But because Chop Shop comes with these 2 laser guns that I believe were originally used with Legacy Elite 1, because he comes with these 2 laser guns, you can, if you want to give him a symmetrical appearance, you can plug the Shrapnel laser gun down here on the bottom, and then you can plug the 2 brand new laser guns here on the top. You can either have them facing forward, or you can have them, as I have, rotated backward. I did that just to make it look like he has a pair of engine thrusters where the wings would come out. So, pretty decent design here. Just like Shrapnel, Chop Shop has opening and closing mandibles, so you can make it look like he's devouring something. something if you want. And again, I can't remember what species of beetle this is supposed to be. I believe it's supposed to be a stag beetle. They're the ones who have these large mandibles, those at the front of their faces, and here is Barrage. Unfortunately, just like Bombshell, there's no 5mm port running or to be found on the center of him. So just like Bombshell, since he comes with the same laser gun Bombshell came with, you just plug it up here on top and up. And unfortunately, there's not really a symmetrical appearance for. There's no symmetrical weapon storage for Barrage. One thing I'm finding difficult with Barrage is that his forearms, the ports where they plug into the back, are very difficult to stay in place. So that's a gripe that I have with this figure. But apart from that, I'm just really enjoy how it came out. If you want to try and make Barrage look as symmetrical as possible, you can turn the laser gun to the side like this and make it look like he has a weapons pack on top of his wings. Again, he comes with the same insect legs that came with Bombshell. On the Bombshell figure, they would attach here on the bottom, and it would make it look like a Bombshell had 6 eggs when he was in insect mode, but because of the retooled shoulders here on Barrage, those connection ports aren't, or they don't, unfortunately exist. Is here, so unfortunately, the laser gun legs that were laser gun legs on Bombshell, you can't unfortunately attach them here on Barrage, but they do give you these 2 tiny little stumps that make it look like he has 6 legs. I don't know if the species of rhinoceros beetle, how many that Barrage transforms into, how many legs it's supposed to have, but I think it's universally anatomically common that most beetles have 6 legs. They don't have more or less than that, but I could be incorrect. But overall, I am thrilled with how these guys came out and how they look in insect mode. Again, as you can see by his forearm wanting to pop out, this is going to be the biggest QC issue with Barrage, is his robot mode arms not wanting to peg into place properly. So I don't know if it's a case of the pegs not lining up properly, or if it's because they're too small. The portholes are too small for the pegs themselves. But yeah, between these 2 figures, Chop Chop is my favorite because there's no QC issues on him, and Barrage has the QC issue of his robot mode arms not pegging in place properly. But overall, I'm really thrilled with how they turned out. Another minor nitpick I have with Barrage is I wish that Hasbro and Takara would have designed this his horn to rotate up farther so that his Robo Mode face could be completely hidden. You can fake it with Chop Shot more successfully since you've got these 2 flat pieces that hide his Robo Mode face, but that's just a minor nitpick for me. So for some size comparisons in Insect Mode, here they are next to fellow Deluxe Class Insecticon Ransack, who was again released in the Transformers Creatures Collide Buzzworthy Bumblebee box set back in 2022. So with the release of Chop Chop and Barrage, we now have 3 of the 4 Deluxe Class Insecticons, so hopefully a modern-day figure of Venom isn't too far off in the future, and we'll finally be able to complete the Deluxe Class Insecticon team. And for size comparisons with the original Insecticons, here are the Legends Class versions of Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback. Again, I apologize for not bringing out the Legacy versions of these guys to do a mold size comparison in here, but the main reason I brought these guys out is because the sizes of these figures compared to each other, this is roughly the same size difference of the Generation 1 action figures of both the regular Insecticons and Deluxe Class Insecticons. They're almost twice the size of the regular ones, so it is nice to have action figures that are almost the same size. It's just the Generation 1 figures, so setting these guys off to the side and setting Ransack off to the side and bringing back in Malleus Minotaurus. Alright, so this is pretty much it. This is the Transformers Amazon exclusive Mayhem, Doom, and Destruction, Chop Chop, and Barrage, Insecticons box set. So for the final proverbial question of the review, do I highly recommend getting this set and adding it to your Transformers collection? Absolutely. These are the first deluxe class figures of Chop Chop and Barrage that have been released by Hasbro, and I believe also Takara Tomy also. So these are the first modern deluxe class sized figures of these characters. We did get a Legends class Chop Chop figure that was repainted from this version of Shrapnel in the Titans Return line. I believe it was, no, not Titans Return, Combiner Wars line back in 2015, but because it's but that was back in 2015, and as this video is recording, it's now 2024 when these figures are released. So 9 years since his first modern Chug figure was released, we got another figure of Chop Chop, and this is the first ever figure of Barrage. Just like fellow Deluxe Insecticon Ransack, heck, I highly recommend getting these figures because these are the first modern figures of the Deluxe class Insecticons that we've gotten released. And Malleus Minotaurus is an added bonus for this box set. And so I highly recommend getting it if you can find it on Amazon for a decent price, or even if you don't shop on Amazon, and hopefully you'll be able to find it at a decent price on eBay. I don't think these figures have appeared on the shelves of GameStop stores. I don't think GameStop gets Amazon exclusive Transformers on the shelves. I could be wrong, but I know they sometimes get Hasbro Pulse exclusive Transformers in stock at GameStop stores. But as I lose my train of thought and my voice starts to fail me, I highly recommend getting Chop Chop and Barrage if you can. You can't go wrong having these figures in your Transformers collection. Even if you have Legacy Bombshell and Shrapnel, these are fantastic repaints and retools of those figures. And even if you unfortunately don't have Ransack because you weren't able to find the Creatures Collide 4-pack, I highly recommend getting Bombshell and Barrage and Chop Chop regardless, because they're both incredible Insecticon Transformers. So thank you guys all so much for watching. This has been the TFN Geek, and this has been my review of the Legacy Mayhem, Doom, and Destruction, Chop Chop, and Barrage with Malleus Minotaurus box set. I highly recommend you get this set if you can. And until next time, you guys, remember to stay safe, stay healthy, transform, and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.